Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And here, what you're seeing on screen is from a light reading article, which I will leave a link to that article in the description so you guys could check it out. The source of these estimates comes from Raymond James. And then, like I said, I will leave a link to the original article from Light Reading in the description down below. So in this video, I wanted to focus in on T-Mobile and that they have more work to do, right? So these averages, these estimated averages of spectrum holdings below 6 gigahertz are within the top 100 markets. And as you can see, T-Mobile has the most spectrum within the top 100 markets. That's total, right? But we got to keep in mind, we have to say it, T-Mobile's spectrum is fragmented. So although they hold a lot of the spectrum holdings in these markets, they can't use it all, right? For example, El Paso, T-Mobile has 141 megahertz of the 2.5, but they can only use 80. That's it. That's all they can use. So what you're seeing is a total overall spectrum count from T-Mobile. This does not include the fragmentation issues in a lot of counties. So if you look at AT&T and Verizon spectrum position, and I'll make individual videos on those, they're more contiguous. So although less spectrum, right, they can use all of their C-band in every inch of the country. They don't have to fight with educational and churches for, can we use these licenses? Can we continue leasing? Or deal with other companies that own the rest of the 2.5 to try to get that back from them, right? So that's another issue that T-Mobile will have to continuously work through the rest of this year, next year, 2025, 2026. Some of those leases are going to come due towards the end of this decade that they're going to have to renew. There's some in 2032, 2033. So T-Mobile will have to work on that behind the scenes and continue to either try to lease that license or to buy it directly from whatever company is willing to sell it. So what I wanted to focus in on in this video are the tower counts. So macro sites total counts. T-Mobile stands at 79,000 today. Now these are the estimates from Raymond James. Keep that in mind. AT&T is at 70,000 and Verizon is at 72,000. Now one thing that stands out, you can clearly see it, T-Mobile has the most macro sites across the country, but they still lack in overall coverage. That might be a head scratcher for you. You might be like, well, how does T-Mobile have more macro sites, but yet they still lack behind Verizon and AT&T in coverage, who have, significantly less sites? AT&T has 9,000 less sites in its network, and Verizon about 7,000 less sites in its network. So you would think by looking at this that T-Mobile has the lead in coverage by just having more macros in the network. But as we know, that is not the case. You can look at that on their own official map. You can look at crowdsourced. T-Mobile is still the smaller network. Now, why is that? Because most of their macros are located in the top 100 markets. Most of their macro density is in the urban core, and they have more macros deployed versus Verizon and AT&T in that setting. 9 times out of 10, if you look at the overall market entirely, T-Mobile will use or will have used more macros than Verizon. Verizon oftentimes likes to balance. They like the small cells. They like the macro. They complement each other well. So that's more of a mix that they use. T-Mobile decided to go more with macros. So in the coming 12 to 18 months, right, we're going to see T-Mobile close out on the total macro count of 85,000. That's where they want to be at. That's 100% fully integrated after merger, 85,000 sites. So they have about another 6,000 sites to deploy to get to that 85,000 site count total. So the rest of this year, 2024, and some in the first half of 2025, we're going to see some more coverage expansion deployments happening. I'm told 2024 is going to be the biggest year of expansion. One, because they're going to deploy a lot of sites in 2024. And two, a lot of the site builds in 2023 are not going to be turned on until 2024. So 2024 is going to look like their biggest coverage expansion year because of those two things. They are going to deploy more sites in 2024, but a good amount of sites that they constructed and built in 2023 are not scheduled to go on air until 2024. My work site, as a perfect example, if you guys have followed those videos more earlier in the year, my work site, it was a Sprint retained site, old Sprint 3G CDMA 1X site, got converted, fully ripped, replaced, upgraded to brand new T-Mobile equipment, N71, N25, N41, all the radios on the structure. Today is August 25th, and that site is still not on. I am told that site in the system is not set to go on air until the second quarter of 2024. The site's already there now, but they're not anticipating it to go on air until the second quarter of 2024. There's many sites like that out there, I'm told. Already built, constructed, but they're not set to go on air. Whatever the case may be, right? It could be they're waiting for microwave backhaul. They're waiting for fiber to some of those sites that they can't get until the first quarter or very late in 2023. So they're estimating a lot of sites to go on air in the first half of 2024. So 2024 is going to reap a lot of the benefits from 2023's deployments because, like I said, some of those sites are not going to go on air until the first half of 2024. Nonetheless, it's still good for the consumer, us. The network's getting bigger, it's expanding, and that's good for everybody and, of course, for competition. Now, will Verizon and AT&T expand their macro count? I'm sure they will. Over the years, the next few years, AT&T will build more sites with FirstNet, and then also in the urban core, they'll build more density into the network little by little. Verizon will deploy likely about 2,000 to 3,000 macros annually for their expansion. You know, they have some site fill-ins and density needed for C-band in some of those more rural areas where they're spaced out for low band. They're going to have to tighten that grid a little more. Verizon is going to do that. They're going to spend the capital to deploy those 2,000 to 3,000 macros annually. So their 72,000 total sites should go, 75,000, 78,000. Eventually, they should approach the 80,000 mark as well. So just wanted to speak on this video from a T-Mobile perspective. 79,000 macros on air total per these estimates. Still got more work to do. Network obviously still smaller. They got another 6,000 macros to work through. That could be a pretty significant expansion for T-Mobile, and we'll see what the outcome is towards the end of 2024. So make sure you guys stay tuned for more. Like, share, subscribe, follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.